Oh, sorry about that, guys. Hey, I'm sorry. I was just playing this new app for my phone called Kingdom Age. It's a pretty interesting app. Really, what it is it's about I have my own kingdom. Really, what I really wanted all my life. But I have my own kingdom, and so I get to go fight what other kingdoms, and so there's other kingdoms that have other people that are like. They have armies and stuff, and so I get to go fight them, and I can win coins and stuff like that and treasures. It's a pretty neat app. So Kingdom Age. My username Doug little ID Dougie D. Sort of also my rapping name too. Anyway, whole other story. We're supposed to be focusing on Bible study, year-long study of Year in the Red. Study about what Jesus taught. So today we're going to be in Luke 14, starting in verse 25, going all the way through 33, let's say. I'm really going to be focused on 31, 32, and 33, but I want to go ahead and read the whole beginning. So we don't have to wait that long. Let's go ahead and let me read starting in verse 25. Luke 14, starting in verse 25. And great multitudes went with him, and he turned and said to them, If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father or his mother, his wife, his children, his brothers or his sisters, yes, and his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? Lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, and all who see it will begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build, but he was unable to finish. Here's verse 31. Or what king, going to make war against another king, does not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else while the other is still a great ways off, he sends a delegation and task of conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. Look, to be honest with you guys, whenever I first started reading that, verse 31 and 32 and 33, I was really a little bit confused. I mean, Jesus is talking about a kingdom, and the only thing I know about a kingdom is what's the app on my phone. And so I started thinking about that. I'm not a king. And so I started thinking about really what it meant. The reason I started in verse 25 is Jesus is talking about some pretty interesting thing, and that is the cost of being a disciple. A disciple is someone that followed him, that really followed Jesus' teachings. And so Jesus is saying in this interesting thing, the cost of being my disciple, the cost of me teaching you, the cost of you following me is pretty strict. He talked about that the entire time that the disciples were following him. I mean, he goes in some pretty rough stuff. To be honest with you, if I was sitting there following him that day, imagine a large group of people. Jesus is sitting there, and Jesus starts off by saying, Hey, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father, does not hate his mother, his wife, his children, and his brothers, his sisters, yes, even his own life, he can't be my disciple. I'd be thinking, whoa, dude, you're a little rough there. Come on, hate? That's a pretty strong word. I thought you were that whole love teacher and everything. But Jesus says, listen, who does not bear up his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And Jesus, it would seem to me that Jesus is trying to get as many people to follow him as possible. But all of a sudden, he's got all these people that are there willing to follow him and saying, listen, I don't think you all are recognizing how hard it's going to be to follow me. You better count the cost of what it means to actually say you're one of my disciples. So I was thinking about this, and I'm looking over this over and over again, and I think I recognize that Jesus, throughout his entire ministry, the years that he walked in the earth, he never came to someone and said, listen, all you have to do is pray this simple prayer and follow me. Jesus really didn't say that. It's really not in Jesus' teachings. In fact, what happens is whenever some people started following him, Jesus started saying some radical stuff. Eat this in my flesh and drink my blood. And seriously, hate my mother, hate my father? This is what it costs to follow you? Jesus is saying, look, he's not using the word hate that gives all of us a reason to hate our parents. He's not saying that. Really what Jesus is saying is, listen, you've got to love me more than you love anything. You understand to follow me means I come first in your life. And I'm going to just be honest with you guys, that hadn't always been the case in my life. There's some times whenever I put family members, there's been times whenever I put my own daughter above Jesus. And it's pretty tough. I can imagine Jesus is the one that gave me my daughter, and then all of a sudden I start putting her above him. That's pretty, call it what you want to, but that's idol worship. With my own daughter, I start focusing on her more than anything, pleasing her more than I'm pleasing Jesus. Jesus is saying, listen, to be my disciple, I've got to come first in your life. I've got to be first in your life. And so what that means is, starting in verse 25, Jesus says, listen, it's going to cost you to follow me. There's some of you, I know this person right now probably going to be watching this video, who has gone to college and everything to be a certain thing, to have this certain job. And they've been in this job for a period of time, then they recognize this is not where God wants them. To follow God is mean they're going to have to give up that. But giving up that, their parents came to them and said, listen, you can't do this, or this is not good. I don't understand why you would want to give up all this to go and do this other thing. And their parents just don't understand. And so I know somebody else is saying, listen, you need to actually get a job. You need to have a full-time job with benefits, and you can worship God on the weekends. You can do all this other stuff. Just go to church. But you've got to be, you're grown up now. You have to do this. And I know that what Jesus is saying, listen, following me, a lot of people might not understand it. Now, I'm not telling you not to go to college. I'm not telling you to avoid getting a job or anything like that. I'm telling you we're supposed to seek God's will and we're supposed to follow Him above all else. Being a follower of Jesus will cost us something. Jesus goes through this whole thing saying, listen, if you want to be my disciple, it's going to cost you. Weigh the cost. Who builds a tower and doesn't actually count the cost of what it's going to cost them? But starting in verse 31, Jesus says something very interesting. And I've looked at commentaries, tried to read to find out what Jesus was talking about this. And I'm just going to be honest with you, it's only my opinion. My suggestion for you guys is read it yourself, verse 31 through 33 in Luke chapter 14. And you tell me what you think. But this is where I come, this is the conclusion I came to. I believe Jesus is looking at His followers and said, listen, there's two kingdoms in this world. There's the worldly kingdom and there's my kingdom. And this is what you need to understand. You've got to choose which kingdom you're going to be a part of. And if you're a part of the worldly kingdom, you've got to understand that the other kingdom that's over there is twice as powerful as the kingdom of here. And so if you recognize that that kingdom is so powerful, that God's kingdom is so much powerful than the worldly kingdom, then it's good for you to actually look and say, listen, I better make peace with that kingdom over there. I better give up on the worldly kingdom and I want to follow that king that's over there. What I see this is Jesus is saying, listen, you need to understand something. You need to start weighing the cost right now, because if you decide to follow a king that's going to lose in this battle, that's going to lose in the battle of eternity, if you're going to follow this kingdom, Satan's kingdom, the world's kingdom, then what's going to happen is you're going to lose. And so it's best for us right now to count the cost and look ahead and say, I better make peace with God's kingdom. So what does making peace with God's kingdom look like? It means following Jesus. Pretty clear. It's pretty simple to me. I look at that and say, well, which kingdom would I want to be a part of? The kingdom that has 10,000 soldiers or 20,000 soldiers? 2 to 1. Which one has better odds of winning this? It's pretty clear throughout the Bible, God's kingdom wins. And so my challenge for you guys this week is read over this. Look at which kingdom you decide to follow and decide which one you're going to be. And understand this. If you've decided to follow Jesus and be a disciple of Jesus, it's pretty clear. Jesus Himself is saying, listen, count the cost. It might cost you your friends at school. It might cost you the clubs you hang around. It might cost you the partying. It might cost you the athletics. It might cost you whatever you're doing that you're putting in front of Jesus. He might say, listen, I want you to put that aside and I want you to follow me. So understand, following Jesus, there's a cost. Just remember that. Be courageous. Read over it and tell me your thoughts. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking about. So I appreciate you guys. Jesse, Grace, Andy, and I appreciate you guys staying tuned in with us each week. Be sure and share with your friends in your youth group. Let us know what you think. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and play this here kingdom deal. I'm getting ready to fight this other guy's kingdom, but he's got twice as many soldiers as I do.